transit that just happened. I mean, the last time that Pluto was in Aquarius was during the American Revolution,
Oof. Okay.
the French Revolution, and the Industrial Revolution.
So fingers crossed. It's hopefully fingers crossed.
Yeah, like there's about to be a lot of transformation.
Good.
And yeah, I think it's really cool that we obviously can see that there are societal influences that, you know, correlate to astrology. So, yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Justin Dallas. This is Inherently a podcast, the podcast where we break down everything related to queer culture, identity, and everything in between. Today, y'all, I'm super excited to talk about the topic today. It is astrology, so everything written in the stars. I'm excited to get into it. But first, I want to introduce my guest, Jasmin. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here and just like talk about astrology because that's something very near and dear to my heart. And it's fun and it's just, yeah, like I feel like it can definitely intersect with queer culture. Astrology is extremely liberating and like just I feel like it's something that's been ostracized for its existence the same way that queer people have. Like just it's telling you what it is. And like I feel like it's rooted in a lot of science and fact. And I'm excited to break it down for people and just give them like the full rundown for astrology. So yeah.
I love that. I feel like astrology, like we can go so many routes with astrology. Like it's literally written in the stars. Like it's very inherently gay. It's very inherently queer. I think like as queer people trying to find themselves, a lot of people, whether you're like young, old, in between, any age, you look to astrology for a sense of like identity and understanding about yourself and the environment around you. But before we get into like everything, I want to know like, what's your sign?
I'm a Gemini,
Okay.
which I feel like I can definitely align with. Yeah, I remember like even being a kid and like reading horoscopes, I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely a Gemini. Like I always just like, I felt it, I knew it. But I also have like a Gemini rising and a Taurus moon. So yeah, it is heavily in my chart.
Okay.
What's
so
your
you're,
sign?
You're an air sign. I'm an air sign too. I love Geminis. I'm an Aquarius, so I'm an Aquarius sun. So I feel like I always say like I don't feel like an Aquarius, but then that's what everybody's like, that's what an Aquarius would say.
Yes.
Because I feel like I'm very, free spirit, artsy, very creative. I want to do
very
creative
unique
endeavors.
energy. Yes.
She's unique, alien superstar.
Yes.
But yeah, I am an Aquarius. My rising sign is Libra, so I feel very, that makes me very like chatty, social butterfly. I love meeting new people, talking a lot. Hello, podcast.
Literally.
My
Gemini energy.
And then my moon is Aries. So my friends say that comes out when I'm like upset or at the club and a little tipsy.
Yeah, my best friend has an Aries moon as well.
And it pops off.
Yes, I love that.
Those are my sun, rising, moon.
Love that.
So for people who are new to astrology, they don't know a lot about astrology, how would you kind of explain what all the different terms mean?
So we all have a natal chart, which is essentially just like a planetary map of where all the planets were when you were born. So you have, your planetary placements that are in different signs. Your most personal ones are going to be your big six. So you have your sun, moon, ascendant, or rising. And then your Venus, Mercury, and Mars. So the sun is like that ego, right? The center of the universe. It's that individuality, what you really feel like your personality is. Whereas that rising is your persona and how you come off to others, kind of your attitude. And then we have the moon. That's going to be more of your emotions and how you interpret things, your unconscious behaviors, just like how you act like with quickness, with impulsivity, And then Venus is that planet of love and beauty.
Oh, God.
So yeah, that's your values and things that you desire, how you want to be loved. And then Mercury is thinking, communication, technology, like how we process information. And then our Mars is that planet of action and passion and sex. So yeah, Mars is a ball of fire, so very, all very important things in how we obviously navigate our lives, right? So yeah, that's your big six broken down.
Okay, and that's your big six, and there's way more to it, but
Right.
the general six is like you're starting, and then
Right.
your sun is essentially like what everybody refers to of like what sign you're in.
Right. Like what, because that's dependent just on the day that you were born and just falls in between that, zodiac season. But then, yeah, the moon changes signs like every 3 days. So it just depends on where the moon was on that day. And then rising is dependent more so on the time. It goes based off like the eastern horizon and stuff like that. And then, yeah, like the planets just, they take their time moving around. Like, it's not just Earth just moving through these different signs. It's other signs, other planets too. So, yeah.
Okay, I feel like I need to go to an astrologer and get my whole chart read.
I highly recommend it.
Because I also saw like TikToks recently about now they're saying like you need to live in a certain geographical location if you want to find love.
Astrocartography. Yeah. So that's like, finding where on the map would be best fit for you based off of your astrological chart. Yeah.
Okay. I feel like that's so true because like I swear every time I travel or go on vacation or go abroad,
you feel like drawn to certain places.
I come alive. Yeah. Like I'm getting chosen. Like I'm meeting different people. Yep. Like I'm even making friends and like going out and like being like in this city that I lived in so long. Like it kind of feels stagnant. So I'm like, okay, where would I go to attract the most like abundance and manifestations?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. It's always interesting whenever I talk to someone. It's almost as this like an identifier of like, oh, like you're either like queer or you're other or you're like, creative if you know about astrology. I always have like a side eye when like I talk to like a straight man and they like know they're big. They knew they're big 12.
It's like,
I'm like, it's giving ran through.
Like someone taught you about this.
Where did you learn this?
Yeah, it's definitely a certain community that aligns with astrology. And then there's a community that doesn't align with astrology. And I think that, I think that those people kind of just come from a place of not having an understanding of it. Because when you really try to understand it and when you study this, like, this is a math. This is a science. Like, we're looking at numbers and degrees and houses. Like, this is like real shit,
It's giving calculus.
Yeah, like it's very much a science, and there is no believing in astrology. Like it is there whether we like it or not. It's just something that has always existed and will always exist. Like they were looking at constellations like and using that to guide them. Who are we to think that the stars are not powerful and don't influence us?
We literally say the North Star, follow the North Star. Okay.
Yeah, the moon controls the tides. Like is that not enough evidence?
It's physics. Yeah, no, that makes so much sense. And like, I know like it's really great to like look into, and I kind of like associate a little bit with like tarot cards too, of like you use it as a guide or a reference, but you don't let it control your entire destiny.
Right, because we all have free will, obviously. Exactly. Like that, and astrology is not denying that. It's just saying that like you might feel certain effects of things or influences of things differently, or you might navigate things differently and process your emotions differently because of certain factors. So yeah, I don't think it's like something that's controlling and ruling our entire life, but I do think it can be a tool for understanding of ourselves and people around us. Like you said earlier, like it's just a way to kind of navigate and like coast with it. You coexist with it.
Yeah. I know we talked about like free will and then also astrology. So you're kind of like dancing between the middle of those. What do you tell like your best friend or your homegirl who keeps going back to that trashy guy because she's like, oh my God, this is my twin flame. This is my soulmate. He's, I'm an Aquarius, he's a Leo, or like, they're my sister sign or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I mean, yeah, a lot of people can definitely use astrology as a crutch. And like, I'm guilty of that too. I'll be like, I'm a Gemini. Like, that's why I'm like this. But I don't know. I mean, I think for one thing, like twin flames, that's like a whole nother conversation too. But sister signs are really like, they can bring out sides of us that we don't want to see, like they can bring out kind of those hidden sides of us. Because think of sister signs like two sides of a coin. So yeah, for your sister signs, you're going to have Aquarius and Leo, Gemini and Sag, Aries, and Libra. So they're like all like 6 months apart from each other. But yeah, sister signs are definitely like it could go either way. You could either be like lovers or enemies or best friends.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I feel like they are kind of that other side of you.
Do you kind of feel like the idea of like birds of a feather flock together is true? Like you gravitate towards, other people with your sign or other like elemental signs?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if I would just like, condense it down to elemental either. Like, we have different modalities a part of our signs too. And there's like one for each element. So like there's cardinal signs, fixed signs, and mutable signs.
Okay.
And cardinal signs are just very headstrong. Like that's going to be your Aries, Capricorn, Cancer, Libra. And then fixed signs, you have Taurus, Leo. Dang, I'm losing my train of thought.
And what's the difference between like cardinal, fixed, and what was the other one?
Mutable. Yeah. So cardinal, fixed, and mutable, the main differences with those is that like cardinals are just like very headstrong, definitely like natural born leaders. Mutable signs are going to be more adaptable. That's like your Pisces, Virgo, Sagittarius, Gemini. And then fixed signs, like people who just like love routine. Like fixed signs are very much like once they find something they like, they are going to stick to it. Like they will order the same thing at a restaurant every time.
I think I'm a fixed sign.
Yeah. Aquarius is a fixed sign. But yeah, so I think that like they all kind of operate in different ways. So yeah, you might find that like some of your friend groups tend to be like fixed signs, or if you're a mutable, you might tend to find that you're gravitated more towards those other mutables. So yeah, I think that they all kind of have like their own strengths and weaknesses. Like with, I think mutables, especially Virgo and Gemini, they're both ruled by Mercury, this planet of thinking and communication. So I think that causes them to overthink. Like they kind of tend to psychoanalyze everything and everyone around them. Yeah. Like you might find that if you're a Gemini or a Virgo, you're kind of more of like an anxious thinker sometimes. But then on the other side of that, Sagittarius and Pisces are ruled by Jupiter, this like planet of optimism and like, good fortune and just like, like I think they're always looking for the next better thing. Like they're just always trying to like elevate. So yeah, I think that there can definitely be some like, like pull, like just like weighing down things with like each group of signs for sure.
Okay.
And you might find what gravitates you towards others or not. So
that's interesting because I think that's kind of like when people are like, oh, I like that vibe of that person. And like even like recently, like if you use like Bumble BFF or like even if you use like the dating apps like Hinge or Tinder or anything like that, like it has an option to put your like zodiac sign on there. And I know like, if, like some of the signs, they get more of a bad rap. They're like, oh, I don't want to put my sign on there because I don't want to get like X'd on or no'd.
Oh, girl, is a Gemini?
Yeah, exactly. The hate, the slander.
The hate and the slander that we have received, child. Like it's tough. Like, but I also think, I don't know. I mean, there's negatives and positives to each sign. So, like sometimes I am a little bit of a hypocrite as a Gemini, but I think that's also on the other side of that. It's just because Geminis really like understand duality and like understand that multiple things can be true at once. So it can get labeled as like hypocrisy or being that two-faced energy. That's like a very like, traditional stereotype with Geminis. Okay. And that's just me speaking to my own experience.
Not speaking for all the Geminis.
Right. Some of them are a little two-faced. Some of y'all are messy.
With experience, I'm like, yes.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, have you dated any like signs that you were like?
Okay, so I'm an Aquarius. I'm an air sign. I'm drawn to a lot of fire signs. Okay. Like I love
same.
I love an Aries woman and I love a Sag woman. Like so recently I was so bored one day. I did like an inventory of all of my friends' signs. I was like, I wonder how many like signs I have.
Oh, I have all of my friends' birth charts.
Yeah. So
every single one.
All of my friends are either Sagittarius, Pisces, or Capricorn. And I think it's like those three.
Pisces or Capricorn.
which is weird because I'm like, I'm an Aquarius.
You like mutables.
Okay. I don't know what.
You like mutables, but I think it's just because, and I mean, Capricorn's a cardinal sign, but I think because Aquarius loves that uniqueness and like being that very transformative energy, and like, you know, mutables are always ready to change, girl. Like we're just ready to like adapt and go wherever you need us. But you know, you have that Capricorn energy too that kind of helps bring you down a little bit and keeps you goal oriented and driven and, you know, pushing forward. So yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense for an Aquarius.
That Capricorn friend is definitely like my sounding board. Like I go to them and they give me like advice, and
the realistic advice.
They call me out on my shit. Exactly.
A Capricorn will give it to you straight. My therapist is a Capricorn.
My friend is a therapist. And it's like, I need it because I'm very like, okay, so I resonate with like the stereotype of like Aquarius being like in their head, very cerebral, overthinking. So yeah, they bring me down to earth sometimes.
Yeah, you got your head in the clouds.
But I love it though. I love
it up here.
I love it dissociating. It's peace. There's no war.
Girl, same.
I want to ask you, you know, are there any signs? Okay, now this is gonna be a little controversial.
Oh.
So let me put a trigger warning. Let me put a flag. Skip 20 minutes.
Right.
But are there any signs that like you personally like just haven't vibed with, or they like you just don't mesh well with? I'm like, everybody close your ears right now.
And don't get offended if it's you. It's not personal. I think a general consensus that I have found about myself and my community is that I do not keep a Libra sun around me too often. And like a lot of my friends have Libra placements, but it's something about Libra being in the sun sign. Yeah. Like she just gets on a high horse and she don't want to come down.
And what are Libras known for?
I mean, Libra, so their ruling planet is Venus, the planet of love and beauty. So a lot of Libras that you know, or like people with Libra placements, might be really, really attractive. Like just naturally they are going to like always have people fawning towards them, like and getting that attention. Libras get bored very easily. So they're not ones to, you know, stay with the same person for too long.
Really good to know.
But they also really do care about perception, and they do really care about how they're perceived. So I think that when a Libra might be a little bit underdeveloped or not know how to handle this like feeling of always wanting to be perceived in a positive way, they can be a little bit fake. Like they definitely can kind of tap into that like Gemini stereotype of like being two-faced. Like I always say that like Libras are what the stereotypes of Geminis are.
Okay, they get the bad rep. Okay.
Right. But yeah, I think it has a hard time being in that sun placement, being at that center of the universe, because it's like, oh, this attention on me, like, oh, I don't know what to do with this, you know, like I just it gives very much that energy. But I think Libra's a great sign. I mean, when it's like in the Venus placement, like when it's at home with that like love, beauty, and values, like it can be really beautiful, and like there can be like a lot of great energy there. But I just don't really vibe with Libra suns. Maybe Geminis and Libra suns were just like,
and that's so interesting because you're both air signs.
Yeah, but that's just not. It's just never. I don't know. I hang around a lot of Virgos, Sagittariuses, Leos.
Okay.
So yeah, I love myself some mutables as well. I love earth signs. I always get along with the Taurus because that's my moon. So I feel like they tap into like my emotional side and make me always feel real comforted. So yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I know a couple Libras, and like they're very like they're fun to talk to. It's always, you know, the social. I'm a Libra rising, so like I love like the social aspect. But yeah, I can kind of see that.
I think at the surface, like their relationship is like fine and like probably like cool, but I don't know. I just don't really I don't have that many deep interpersonal relationships with Libra suns.
Okay. So they're very like floating, like they float around.
Yeah, and I think that like I take that as like maybe flaky potentially, but that's just how I perceive it, you know, like for someone else it might work for them, but like even though I'm a Gemini and I could definitely like move around and shit, like I definitely still want some consistency. But that's also my Taurus moon. Like my Taurus moon wants that like security and like safety and consistency, because Taurus is a fixed sign, you know, like we want to feel like comfortable. We don't want to be in positions where we're uncomfortable or overthinking. So I can kind of be at an emotional war with myself Because I'm like, girl, just don't give a fuck. Like, you're a Gemini. And then my Taurus side is like, no, girl, like, we need to be grounded and serious. Like,
yeah, and I think we need someone to like balance us out a little bit of like,
absolutely,
because we're air signs and we're so like way up here, we need like, you know, someone or a sign or a personality to kind of like meet us in the middle and ground us. And like Libras are very like, they'll go up there with you.
Yes.
So I'm sorry to all the Libras. 2024, we need Libras to stand on business. We love you, but
for real, just we need y'all to do better.
And no hate.
No shade.
I'm an air sign.
I do love me some Libras, but
I have Libra in me. I think, okay, for me, I feel like I'm scared to say this out loud.
No, don't be scared.
I have.
Let's be real.
I've had the most unique experiences with cancers. It's just, it's something in the water.
When I tell you my
literally
ex was a Cancer, I hear you.
I've never dated a Cancer, but like I've had like a friend breakup that was a Cancer. My last boss that like, girl,
shady,
Cancer, Cancer coded,
emotionally manipulative,
gaslighting, girl boss, gatekeeping,
right?
All the above.
That's the underdeveloped side of Cancer that is very scary. They are like a ticking time bomb.
And exactly. And I do want to say, like, we're talking about Libras, we're talking about Cancers. We're not meaning to like take shots at like these two signs, but like you're saying something very important, Jasmine. Like, you're talking about underdeveloped.
Yeah.
So like there are Libras and Cancers who are like healthy and go to therapy and like know how to operate and function
and embody those positive aspects of your sign, because we all have positive and negative. You know, there's two polarities with all signs. So yeah.
And I mean, they even said like for Aquarius, like my negative traits that are like stereotypical to us is like we're very emotionally distant and aloof.
Girl.
Now I'm bad at texting back, but
I was gonna say, do you be ghosting? Because
okay, so she's been to therapy, so like I feel like 18-year-old me, definitely my Aries moon taps in and I'm like, oh, F this guy, I'm gonna like block this person, or like I'm ghosting or whatever, like anything to protect my peace. But then now, like as I've like grown up, matured, obviously like been to therapy, like I'm like, you know, I only want what's best that's gonna serve me. You know, we don't chase, we attract.
Exactly.
So yeah, I definitely feel like any sign can be quote unquote like toxic or negative.
Right. Yeah. So it's like, girl, it's okay. Like we're all on a healing journey. We're all like trying to grow and, you know, just do better. So I mean, it'd be like that. Like there's sometimes you're just a little fake, or sometimes you're a little bit emotionally impulsive, or you have outbursts, or you know, and I don't know. I think it's just about like understanding that part of yourself and allowing it to coexist and letting it be there. I feel like that's something that I've learned in therapy. Like she's in therapy, she's working on herself. But yeah, like just allowing all of your emotions to coexist, I think, instead of trying to shut them down, or, you know, there are sides of you that are ugly sometimes, and that's okay. Yeah. So,
and also like, I think like I agree with that. Like I think it's a duality. You have to fix yourself. Everything you said, yes. I also think like sometimes like I just think to myself of like, yeah, I might have my own signs, but also like I take into consideration my parents' signs, because like if I was raised by this sign and this sign, I grew up with their perspective.
Both of my parents are Aquariuses.
Oh my God. Okay. I'm sorry.
And then my sister's an Aries.
Okay.
So like this household of fucking aloof air signs with my sister's Aries, like just fiery, passionate energy, very driven, hardworking, like serious. And yeah, it's funny seeing our dynamic, because it's obvious like that all of these things influence each other. So yeah, like my poor sister has been having to live her whole life with a bunch of air signs and like just constantly feeling like she's too much or something like that. So yeah, I think it's very interesting, like family dynamics and like looking at your parents' chart and stuff like that. Our moon can tell us a lot about our relationship with our mother, because you know, Cancer's ruling planet is the moon, and Cancer is like looked at as this very like motherly, like nurturing energy in astrology. So yeah, depending on like, you know, your moon placement or your mom's moon placement, like
Yeah.
just how they interact with each other. It's really cool. Like there's genuinely so much to astrology. I wish
Oh my God.
I could talk about it all day long.
Yes. I didn't even know that. Like I grew up with like, so my brother and my mom are both Pisces. So growing up, I grew up in a Pisces household. My dad is a Scorpio.
Oh, so a bunch of water.
Yeah. And I think maybe that's why I don't really fit into that like
Emotionally detached
Aquarius.
Yeah, because you had these influences in your life that allowed emotions to be vulnerable, and I think that that's something really beautiful about water signs. I really love them for that reason. And they each process their emotions in different ways, but they're all emotionally like vulnerable and like willing to just like pour their hearts out to somebody. So yeah, I think that makes sense. Probably why you didn't.
Yeah,
fit
and
into
like
that
I
mold.
mean, my younger brother, like he's a Pisces. He has a high level of like emotional intelligence, and like he's helped me kind of like rein it in.
I love talking to Josh.
Yeah, like Josh, like if you are listening, he was on the first episode.
Yes.
But Josh is a very like evolved Pisces. Like he's very emotionally intelligent, and he's definitely reined in my like Aquarius moon of wanting to pop off, and like my Aries moon and my Aquarius sun, because like whenever I want to be dramatic and like cut a guy
I also
off.
want to point out, not to call out Josh, but Josh has an Aquarius moon, and then
Yes.
you have your Aquarius sun, so y'all have that sun and moon synastry.
Yeah.
So synastry is when you're looking at two charts next to each other and how they influence each other, and just like how their planets interact, whether it's like opposed or squared or like in trine. Trine is like the best kind of like transit you can have with two planets. Like meaning they're in harmony. But yeah, that sun and moon synastry is really special because he taps into your ego, you tap into his emotional world, like so y'all like just like bounce off of each other. I love that. I love that a lot.
Like whenever we'll talk on the phone like almost every day, and like I'll tell him like what's going on in like my life, and he's like, oh, I can see why you would do that because like that's very Aquarius. And then he'll challenge me to be like, oh, well, you're actually being a little dramatic, or he was like, girl, you could have did that. And I'm like, okay, true. Like it's holding up a reflection in a mirror, you know.
I love that.
And then so we're talking about the science, we're talking about astrology, you're talking about what was that, symmetry? Synastry.
Yeah. Okay. So the comparing two charts. But yeah, like there's so much to astrology obviously, but something I think that's really cool is how astrology influences society. So we have a Leo full moon coming up tomorrow actually, but when you're watching this, it'll already be happening. So yeah, we think of Leo in this, very like individual sign. They're the only one ruled by the sun. They're the center of the universe. We're all chasing Leo. And then, you put it in this area of the moon, this very emotional like energy, this subconscious energy, this like very unconscious, like just doing. And when it's full, like the moon can feel really heavy. Like you can feel a lot more tired than usual or just like lazy. I think full moons are definitely like an energy of like releasing and stuff like that. But I think this Leo full moon is definitely going to be teaching us how to be the center of our own universe and like just really tap into our own individuality. Which also ties into like there's a Pluto in Aquarius that's a big transit that just happened. I mean, the last time that Pluto was in Aquarius was during the American Revolution.
Oof. Okay.
The French Revolution and the Industrial Revolution.
So fingers crossed. It's hopefully fingers crossed.
Yeah, like there's about to be a lot of transformation and a lot of rebirth and hopefully like reconstructing of our ideas and like, morals and values and things like that. So yeah, I think it's really cool that we obviously can see that there are societal influences that, correlate to astrology. So yeah, I just wanted to tap into that a little bit, but yeah.
That's so interesting because also like in terms of like what's happening right now, like in our landscape, like there's like an election coming up. There's, the whole war going on overseas with, Palestine and everything like that. So it's super interesting that it's
hopefully
aligning.
We can see a huge revolution in, our own country and the way that we have obviously taken a part in things like this, you know, and just like hard times, you know, like it's just a very, very difficult transformational time, I think, for not only our individual selves, but like literally how society is operating and treating each other. And like, you know, you might feel like, oh, what's in the air? Like, what's that huge shift? Girl, it might be a full moon, or it might just be that Pluto, you know, moved like after 20 years, you know? So it's like a huge, like there are definitely like reasons why we feel, you know, those energy shifts. And
Yeah, so there's truth to it when people are like, oh, you know, Mercury's in retrograde, or like
Mercury's in Gatorade.
Mercury's in Gatorade. It's in haterade holleration. But yeah, no, that's some truth. And like, I personally like to like be a little bit of an optimist, or like, you know, see the best in things. And like, I think it's really exciting that we're moving to that right now. We're in January. It's the start of the new year. Like, I know a lot of people have been, you know, whatever you're going through right now, like I think you could kind of use that to your advantage of, you know, let me pull the tide into like my own destiny, and let me create and manifest better things. So I think that's really exciting. Something that like I'm kind of manifesting for, and I know a lot of people are, you know, really hoping for, is to find like love in a relationship in the new year. So if I wanted to like manifest that, what would, like, I know we talked about Venus, like how would I go about understanding that, and like what's good for me?
Yeah, I mean, I think that like obviously looking at your Venus sign is really important when understanding like how you want to be loved, and just like really what you value, and what you really desire. Venus can also tap into like how you dress and how you take care of yourself, and like what your self-care should be and stuff like that. Like, I think people with a Taurus Venus are probably very like high maintenance. Okay. But also like they do not mind like spending a bag and treating themselves. Taurus and Libra are both ruled by Venus. Okay. And yeah, Taurus like naturally already enjoys the finer things in life, but when it's like at home and with that like Venus sign, it's like, girl, like I'm gonna go get my nails done, then I'm getting a facial, then I'm getting a massage. Yeah, like, you know, yourself. They are going to treat themselves. Whereas like me, I'm an Aries Venus, and I'm just very freaking passionate when it comes to love. Like I think that I am like very devoted, very loyal. You know, you think of Aries ruled by Mars, this like ball of fire and planet of action. Like, girl, if I want you, I want you. Like, you know, I'm gonna make it known, you know, like I'm gonna take initiative. Like I don't shy away from love, I think, or like any experiences like that because of that Aries Venus. So yeah, like definitely a tool in understanding yourself, and what might be best for you. Like, I mean, I think being loved by an Aries for me would probably be like, okay, period. Like, you know, like tapping into that Aries Venus. But then we also have like our houses, which are like another part of astrology. And like, for instance, my 7th house, which is like your house of partnerships and like even like business partnerships, but also like romantic relationships and stuff like that. Mine is in Sagittarius. And I love me a goddamn Sagittarius. No, same. Like, I'm like, where the Sagittarius is at? Yeah. You know?
Where the Sagittarius at?
Literally. So, yeah, I think that it can definitely be a kind of a key for unlocking like who your partner might be, or like who you might work out best with, like that sun and moon synastry. Like, you might work out with an Aries, you know, like romantically, since you have that Aries moon.
Okay, so I have a Sag Venus.
Okay.
What does that entail?
You're like, read me.
I'm like, is that a jump scare? Is that like, should I be worried?
Sagittarius Venus. I mean, Sagittarius is obviously this sign of like just very adventurous. Like they are a very adventurous person. For you, like a perfect date for you might be like an experience rather than like a gift. So, I mean, that's how I would kind of interpret Sagittarius Venus. But they are also someone that is, you know, like they want to do their own thing. They want to be able to experience, because they're all about experiences and fun, and optimism and seeing what's next and seeing what's the better thing out there. So in a way that can kind of make them flighty in love, because they're
Okay.
just like, girl, like I'm ready to go see what else someone has to offer. Like, or if you're not giving me what I want, like, okay, I'm gonna get to the next person, you know? So yeah, I think that that's kind of the energy with Sag Venus, but they could also probably be super loyal and like, just like a fun partner. Like I think of a partner that is probably very, like experience oriented, always taking you on fun dates and just like having you try new things and stuff like that. So yeah, that's how I would interpret it.
That's interesting. I remember telling a friend, I was like, yeah, I have a Sag and Venus. And they're like, oop, I'm sorry. Like, that's literally all of their response. I was like, oh no. I was like, is this why I'm like single for so long?
Well, I mean, Sagittarius can be non-committal, so like we can get into that. Like,
okay, my thing is, I am not willing to settle. Like, I know my value, I know my worth.
So you'll go on to the next thing. Like,
hello,
exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tie a Sagittarius down, y'all. Like, if they're not ready, if they don't want to do that, then you're not gonna make them. You're not gonna force them. You just have to let them be ready when they're ready.
But I'm like a unicorn. Like once you tie me down, I'm a ride or die. Like I'm very faithful.
Right.
Like I'm
very solid.
Yeah, very solid. But also like I'm just not gonna like give it to anybody. Like I'm not gonna settle down for anybody.
Right.
So.
Period.
Just the Beyonce looking for her Jay-Z.
Right.
Power couple. But okay, say I'm on the apps, say I downloaded Hinge for like the 100th time.
Yeah.
It's the same faces, obviously, because it's the same app. But say I find somebody, I match with somebody, I go on a date, you know, we're at a cute coffee shop, they order me, you know, a green matcha latte, something cute with honey.
Yeah.
Oat milk, because it's Austin.
Yes, period.
And I'm like,
and you know a queer barista made it.
Yes, they them. Watch out for the they thems, because they got shooters.
If it ain't a they them with purple hair, I don't want it.
I don't want it. But then they're like, I tell them like, oh hey, what's your astrology sign? I'm an Aquarius, and then they scoff at me and they're like, ugh, I don't really believe in that crap. I don't. They're like, oh God, you're one of those, the astrology people. Like, how do you navigate like just haters? Like,
okay, so I actually have a quick funny story. I had a client and I had asked her what her sign was, because we were just really hitting it off, and like I'm just that type of person. Like I'll just ask, you know. So I asked her sign, and she was just like, oh, I don't do that stuff.
Yeah.
And like the energy got real hostile.
I'm like, boo, good for you. Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. Like I didn't expect that answer. But I mean, when I do come close to people like that, or, you know, when I have those experiences, I just think it's because they don't know. Like they literally just don't know. And, you know, kind of like I said earlier, like astrology has definitely been ostracized for its existence. And it's also been tweaked and westernized and modernized like anything nowadays. So, you know, we see these like very cliche like horoscope readings and like magazines and stuff, but like, you know, back in the day, like they were actually using this as a tool and like a science and a study. Like philosophers like literally studied astrology. So yeah, I think it's just because they don't know. I think it's really just coming from a place of ignorance and a place of like lack of open-mindedness as well. Because I think like, you know, some people just align a little bit more with traditional values and belief systems and stuff like that. So that might be why to them astrology is like hoo-ha, because it's like, oh, that's just like something made up by like weird spiritual people. And
yeah, and I'm just like, okay, good for you. Like you think you're like better than everybody else. And I'm just like, this isn't even someone I would want to spend my time with or interact with. Like
low-key, yeah.
You're literally like, we don't mesh well.
That's
and I'm
usually like the first red flag in someone for me is like, if you can't be at least like open-minded to it. Like even if you're just like, oh, like I only know I'm a Scorpio, but like I don't know anything else, but like I'm interested in learning or whatever. Like I think that's cool. Or you don't even have to be interested in learning, but just don't be a hater just because I like something and I'm passionate about something. Like, yeah, that's definitely turned me away from a lot of people I've dated and stuff, because I'm just like, ew, you are being such a Cancer right now.
I'm like spoken like a true Capricorn.
Literally. I'm just like, okay, if astrology isn't real, then why are you emotionally manipulating me?
Why do you look like this?
Exactly.
That's
why do Tauruses love green? Like, you know, just like shit like that I'm just like, come on, like astrology is definitely here. Like
And it's also like the fact that like you're not interested in something I care about. Like,
Yeah,
hello.
very true. Like, why don't you like just at least consider the things that I am passionate about? Like, yeah.
And then I will say it also goes on the like the other flip coin of that is like I'll say like I'll match with someone or I'll talk to someone and they're like, oh, you're an Aquarius. Like all my exes are an Aquarius, or like I just like, and I'm like, girl, like choose your. It's very like that Britney Spears meme of like choose your own destiny, choose your own fate. You know?
Yeah,
so.
Very true. Like okay, like I don't speak for the rest of like me and Geminis. You know, the same way that you don't speak for the rest of you and Aquariuses. Like,
and I don't have to defend like why I like astrology. Like, yes, astrology is rooted in science. There's historical facts to that. But I shouldn't have to plead my case to why I'm interested in something. I'm like, why are you interested in like Bitcoin and crypto? Like, girl, that's not real. Like, hello, what even is that? Because it's in Austin. We're in Austin. We're in the tech city. And I'm like, girl,
you know, I don't really find myself aligning with people like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's just not really
bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, I went to a crypto event once and it was so weird.
What is that like? What, like Minecraft or like Roblox?
I don't know. I was there and I couldn't even tell you. Like it was just so we all have our little niches that we like and we don't need to judge each other for them. Like just let me have astrology and you can have your little Elon Musk bullshit.
Yeah, because anyways you're like, you know, a Scorpio and I don't really vibe with them.
Exactly.
But I want to play a fun game where we guess celebrities' zodiac signs.
Yes.
So as like an aficionado, I want to see like if you can correctly guess what these signs are of these stars. And these are the sun signs.
Okay.
So first up is Margot Robbie. She's in the new Barbie movie.
Yes,
Harley Quinn.
I love her.
What do you think she is?
See, like I love her, but I don't know too much about her. I don't really watch a lot of interviews with her, so I'm just like I haven't really seen how she acts. But she seems very like sweet and like poised.
Okay.
Like something in my intuition is telling me that she's a water sign, but I don't know. Maybe I could be lying.
Okay. Final answer.
I'm gonna just throw it out there and say Pisces. What is
Close. She's a Cancer.
Oh, dang it!
And that, you know, now that I think about it, that fits because of that whole Barbie movie with Billie Eilish and like, what was I made for? Like,
yes, and something about her also looks very like dreamy. Like, yeah, water signs just have this like very like dreamy, whimsical look.
Ethereal.
Yeah, so I think that's why I probably thought Pisces. I almost said Cancer.
You were close.
Really
you were
did.
in the same like element.
Yeah.
Okay, next one is Queen Zendaya.
Oh, she's a Virgo through and through.
Yeah, she's a Virgo.
Yeah. She is a Virgo through and through.
I love her. She was in the recent like runway, and she has this new hairdo where it's like
bangs that like go inward kind of, and she like she looks so good.
I'll link a photo in this part.
No, y'all have to see it. And like one thing about a Virgo, they gonna serve a look. They gonna serve a look.
Well, she had La Roche as like her stylist.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we think of like Beyonce. Like she is very, very. I mean, I will say like she's a trendsetter. You know, like if Beyonce does something, like she is going to make sure that other people do it too. And like I feel like the same way with Zendaya. Yeah.
That's what I love about Beyonce and like Virgos and even Aquarius. But like they don't follow the trend; they start the trend. You know, Virgos groove through and through. Okay, next one is let's go with Wendy Williams. How you doing?
Wendy Williams. Yes. She is so out of pocket. I feel like she has to be an air sign. Like I feel like she's super blunt, but she could also be a fire sign because of that too.
Wendy Williams?
Yeah.
Okay, so Wendy Williams, and maybe this is just like another reason why I don't really care for this sign. Again, sorry, but Wendy Williams is a Cancer.
She's a Cancer?
She's a Cancer too.
No freaking way.
I like how we have Barbie and then we have Wendy Williams. Right. You could like it's but like
you know what? You know what? That makes sense because do you remember that clip of her where she's crying and she's wiping her tears with a Q-tip? That's really Cancer.
She's like, I have that Nickelodeon show.
So I can see that. But yeah, I was just thinking like of the out of pocket shit that she'd be saying, and like I guess I don't find Cancer energy to be that bold, but like they definitely can get there if they're like emotionally charged. So and she does have a lot of emotional outbursts on her show. So that makes sense. It checks out.
James, what was that?
James, what was that?
She's going through it. So I can see like maybe like a messier cancer.
Or one last video of Wendy Williams, the one where she's like in the back and she's like looking through and she's just crying. That is, I don't know why I didn't say cancer now.
Okay, so like I used to watch just like compilation videos of Wendy Williams. Like the one when she fell. Oh my God. Or when she would talk to like obviously gay men and she'd be like, oh, don't date that girl. She's saying
hilarious.
what we're thinking. That's what I would thought. Like I would have initially thought like Aries or something.
Yeah, like I could have saw that too. We'll have to look at her full chart.
Just out of pocket.
Out
of pocket. Okay, next one is Michelle Obama, Queen.
She has got to be a Capricorn because something about her energy is very parental, and I always think of Capricorn as like that dad energy and Cancer as that mom energy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So she's a Capricorn.
I love Michelle Obama. She like stands on business. She gets shit done.
That's what I'm saying. Capricorns are very goal oriented, very driven. Like they are not gonna talk about it. They are gonna be about it.
She was in those cafeterias, in those schools, being like
switching shit.
You're eating broccoli. Like you see these defined arms. She getting
said,
those.
We're taking care of that.
Give me those hot Cheetos. No more.
No more Chicken Nugget Tuesdays.
Oh my God, Queen. I like need to read her book, by the way.
Yeah, my dad read it. He said it was really good.
Okay, I need to check it out. Okay, next one is we're gonna go into a little bit of like the toxico people. This person definitely underdeveloped. We'll just start there.
I'm scared.
Nick Cannon.
Nick Cannon?
Yes, with all of those kids.
Oh, and like he's bouncing from.
He probably has the child of each of the zodiacs. He's the avatar of the zodiacs, like father of the house. He's
collecting them like Infinity Stones.
Yes.
Oh, geez.
I just looked at the side and I'm screaming.
No, I don't know. Okay. I'm gonna just take a wild guess and say Leo.
Close. He's a Libra. Which he's floating around.
Yes.
Floating
so
that seed around.
So true.
Yes.
I was just like maybe thinking Leo because I know that Leo men can be some clowns. Yeah. No tea, no shade. But they can be very like, I don't know. Like they can just get real fed up and just like dip out. So I was like, I feel like they might be a Leo. He's just bouncing from person to person. But Libra makes more sense.
That is insane. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I've never dated a Libra and I don't think I ever will.
I've never dated a Libra. Have friends who are Libras. The Libra rising.
Right.
Okay, next one is Bad Bunny.
Oh, Bad Bunny. Isn't he? What is Bad Bunny? Ooh. Is he a Virgo?
Bad Bunny is final answer. Virgo? Okay.
Yeah, why not? I don't know.
Bad Bunny is, let me see. Bad Bunny's a Pisces.
Oh, okay.
But just like emotional. Like I think a lot of like songwriters and artists like very emotional
and
stuff.
he looks very like soft.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then the last
I was like, I really don't know what his sign is. Like I really could not think about that.
Me neither. I mean,
I don't watch a lot of like things of him either. I feel like I don't really know how he acts. I just was going off of like his music.
I get very fire when I see like his visuals. Mm-hmm. But I guess Pisces because like emotional, and like he writes about like his love and stuff.
Very true.
Very Pisces coded.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one is super easy. If you don't know this one, the last one, Nicki Minaj.
Sagittarius, because I'm an optimist.
Period, like a star sign. I even know her birthday.
She is a Sagittarius through and through for sure. Like
her on Twitter.
Yeah, girl, just be saying whatever she wants.
Listen,
just outlandish.
I love me some Nicki. She beefs with everybody on Twitter.
Yeah,
Lotto, Cardi, like you name it. Oh my god.
Yeah, she ready to come for people's throats.
So you would consider her like a classic Sag?
Yeah.
Okay.
She definitely is like you know, doesn't back down. Like, she stands on business, like, and she's the type of person who wants to prove a point.
Yeah.
So I feel like that definitely can be that, you know, side of Sagittarius that might not be deemed so positive. But, you know, I mean, I feel like celebrities having the spotlight of that on them, of course, they are going to tap into those negative traits. Like, I always think about like the famous Geminis we know, and they're not very good examples. We have Azalea Banks, we have Kanye West,
Azalea Banks,
yeah,
oh
Donald Trump. Like, you know, those Geminis are kind of fucking bad examples for us. But I think it's just like they have so much spotlight on them. They're probably like, of course, no wonder they have these like outlandish emotional outbursts and stuff like that. It probably is a lot of pressure. But yeah, Nikki is definitely a Sag.
Oh my
definitely God. A Sag. Even the way that she raps is like a Sag. Like super witty, like she goes bar for bar. Like one thing about like one thing about Sagittarius, they're super sarcastic. They always have a response for everything. Yeah. Like they're always gonna have a little comeback, always gonna have a joke. So yeah, it makes sense.
I think that's why I love Sag, because I love like witty people.
Yes.
And like she'll fully mock somebody on a song.
Even if my name was Natalie Nundy, so just
check me. Or when that one song when she's just like, I took 2 bars off just to laugh. Like, she does not play.
Yeah, love her.
Speaking of Geminis, I had one who is a Gemini on here. Naomi Campbell's a Gemini.
Yes, me and her actually have the same birthday.
What?
Yeah, we're both on May 22nd. Yeah,
oh my gosh.
She is a Gemini through and through. Okay. Yeah.
Did she give like classic Gemini?
I don't know. I mean, there are some clips of her where she's being real shady. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen that show when she was on a model competition show and she was just literally laughing at some girl's wall.
The face.
Yeah.
The face.
And then the face. Like, yeah. So she can definitely be shady. But I think that she's also like, you know, very like expressive with her craft, and I think Geminis are just very like free-spirited people and like love to express themselves, so she definitely embodies that pretty well. But yeah,
maybe that's why I love Gemini and Sagittarius, because like, and maybe that's why I don't get along that well with Cancer, because like I'm not super emotional, so like I
want to go where the party is. I want to go where the fun is.
It's like that quote that's like, if you have nothing nice to say, come sit by me. Because like I love being like witty and like joking and like shady, but like all in good fun. Like I can read myself. But yeah, Cancers are just like maybe too like emotional. I don't know.
Yeah, I will say they are very loving and very caring, very attentive. I think like if you have Cancer friends or if you've dated a Cancer, then you know that they will definitely like look after you and like pay attention to those little things that others might not. So I think that's the really beautiful thing about Cancers is they can be super loving and nurturing. But yeah, girl, when they are upset or when they want to be vengeful, when they want to like
manipulate,
when they want to get their lick back on somebody, they have no problem doing so.
Cancerous, yes. No, yeah, and I have Cancer friends. I'm not saying I hate all Cancers,
right?
But just my worst experiences have been with people under that sign.
Yeah, who knows? You might come around. Maybe a Cancer will come around and like give you a different experience.
Well, fingers crossed. We're at the beginning of 2024.
That's what
who
I'm
knows
saying.
what's gonna happen?
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. It could really switch up.
Imagine my next boo being a Cancer. Oof.
Yeah, I used to talk before I knew my natal chart. I used to talk so much shit about Tauruses. But then I realized I have a Taurus moon, and I was like, oh, that's probably because I didn't want to like tap into my emotional side and like actually like dive deep into that part of myself. So yeah, you know, you never know. You could.
Yeah. I mean, after learning this today, like everything I've learned, I think I kind of see myself like with a Taurus too. Like I love the finer things in life, like the luxurious, like
that grounding energy for sure. I think Taurus, like they can also be super simple too. Like it can definitely just be like, we're just gonna lay in bed and watch Netflix. Like we're just gonna be real cozy, like listening to the rain or whatever. Like Tauruses are definitely, they get this like stereotype that they're lazy. But I think it's just because Tauruses, like, they know when to rest. They know when to listen to their body, and they know when to go into that hibernation mode. But yeah, Tauruses can also be, you know, they're the bull in the zodiac. Okay. So once they get angry, they can also like be like ready to pop off. Yeah, they're ready to pop off for sure.
Okay. No, yeah. Okay. Well, if you're listening and you're a Taurus and you're in the Austin area and you're single, my DMs are open. But also open to the other 12s.
Right. Open to any of them. As long as you can come with the right energy. But mainly if you're a Sag.
If you've been to therapy, if you're developed.
Right.
Hello.
Right.
Okay, well, those are all of the people that I had. I also had Rihanna, but she's, do you know?
Oh, Rihanna is a Pisces,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Rihanna's a Pisces, and then I had...
But I think she has an Aries moon. If I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure she has an Aries moon because I always see her as an Aries and I'm just like
popping off.
Yeah. Like she definitely has that, like, walks into a room and just...
I see that.
Takes that, like, presence.
That's like my moon sign sister.
Yes.
And then finally SZA.
SZA. Oh, girl, she a Scorpio.
Yeah.
She stay lying.
Through and through.
She stay lying.
SOS, she's lying.
Where's the music at, SZA?
Girl, well, shoot. Does Rihanna have Scorpio in her chart? Because
she be lying too. She's
behind, like, the Ulta counter right now. She's
literally
not making music.
She is not worried about that.
But those are all the celebrities I had.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
People who are wanting to get into astrology. I know there's a bunch of, like, apps and stuff. What do you recommend if you want to learn about everything we talked about today?
Yeah. One of my favorite apps for just, like, understanding basic terms is Charts. It's really good. It shows you all the 12 houses and it's like a whole sign system. So, like, on CoStar, their layout is a little bit different for their houses. They don't show you all the 12 that you have. And yeah, Charts is really good. Like, it'll really break it down for you. Like, if you click on your Aries Venus placement, for instance, it'll be like Jasmin's love, beauty, values are expressed through, dominance, initiation, whatever. And then it's also being expressed through the house of. So it'll, like, really break it down for you. So that's a good one for, like, terms. Time passages is also really good for understanding the wheel and, like, the symbols and stuff like that. Yeah, there's a couple different ones. There's one I think called Dimensional or something like that my best friend told me about. That's pretty cool. And then the Sanctuary is also a pretty cool.
Heard that one.
Yeah, that one's a pretty cool app as well. Okay. But books, yeah, definitely don't sleep on reading, girl. Like, there's so many good astrology books out there. I have, like, a little self-care book specifically for Gemini and, like, our placements and, like, what's the best type of, like, routine for us to do, like, when we just want to de-stress. But then I also have, like, a book that just helps you understand, like, all the systems and, like, the houses and placements and transits. So yeah, definitely, like, just do your resources. And also social media can be such a big tool. And, like, yeah, and then finding other people around you that like astrology. Like, you could just always ask them a question and pick their brain. So yeah.
Awesome. I love, like, following those Instagram accounts of, like, all of the astrology memes of, like, this is the Aquarius meme or this is when they're over, anything like that.
Yep.
So yeah, do some research, look around. I'm super excited to, like, see, like, what signs come into my life this year too.
Yeah, that's always interesting. And, each year we go through a different, like, house perfection. So I always like to bring this up. Like, there's kind of that saying, like, nobody likes you when you're 23.
Oh, yeah.
And it's because that 23rd year is the 12th house. And that 12th house rules, like, isolation, hidden enemies, the subconscious, healing, endings. So you might find in your 23rd year that you went through, like, a bad breakup or that, like, you just, did a lot of introspection during that year. But, like, for me, I just went through my 11th house year. So I'm about to go into my 12th house. But just went through my 11th house year, which is the house of friendships and community and things like that, and just connections. And yeah, I made so many friends this year. Like, I actually made so many Aquarius friends too. And I'm getting closer to Aquariuses. I realized, like, this month of February, like, every single weekend is someone's birthday.
Yeah.
So yeah, a little bit of Aquarius and a little bit of Pisces, but yeah, it's really interesting. Just, like, the shifts that happen whenever we go through a different age, because they all tie to a different house.
Nice.
So,
I love that. And they, like, shape your experience well.
Yeah.
I love that. Just like the moon, we're always changing as people. We're always healing,
always evolving,
always growing. So yeah, I'm excited to see what comes next. Thank you for coming on the podcast today.
Yes, thank you for having me. This was such a fun conversation, and just like getting into it is always so fun. I could obviously go on and on about it. So, and I'm a Gemini, I have no problem talking.
Well, if people want to talk to you, if people want to ask you questions, or they want to just like know more about like what's going on in your life as a Gemini queen, where can they like find you on social media? Is there anything you want to plug?
Yeah, so I'm a licensed esthetician. I work with the lovely Josh, your brother. And we work at Element, which is a really awesome facial studio right off of East 6th. So I just love sharing that space with people because it's such a healing and welcoming space. And we're really just able to create such a beautiful environment for people to take care of themselves, not only just their skin, but their full-on being. But yeah, my Instagram is on Jasmin, AWHJASMIN. But I also have like my aesthetics account, which is Aesthetically Jasmin, because, you know, I'm a Gemini. I got to have multiple personas and personalities.
Brands,
so exactly. So on Jasmine's like lit, turn, fun. Like we hot girls over here. And then Aesthetically Jasmin, that's like my holistic wellness side.
Soft girl era.
Exactly. So yeah, that's where you can catch me. But yeah, that's what I'm out here doing. I'm not like a professional astrologer by any means. I don't do readings or anything, but it is something that's like just very near and dear to my heart. And I love sharing it with people just because I love sharing what I've learned, and it's really cool. You could study astrology your whole life and still never figure it out. There's so much information out there. So it's like just a vast pool of knowledge, and I'm all about that. So
awesome. Well, if you're interested in, you know, learning more about astrology or skincare, especially skincare and inner beauty, definitely go follow her on her social media pages. Thank y'all for watching another episode of Inherently Gay Podcast. You can find me on Instagram at Justin Dallas, and you can find the podcast on TikTok and Instagram at Inherently Gay. Until then, we'll see you next week. We have new episodes every Monday on Spotify and YouTube. So we'll see you then. Bye.
Bye.